Oh. All right, guys, you trickling in here? Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. It's something with I think it's my actual cord to my camera. So as soon as I touched it, it went off. So I think I need to order a new cord for it. Kind of looked like it was hanging out a little bit. So we'll wait till everybody kind of gets coming back in here. So yeah, yeah, Dave, we're good now, I think. So had to use the webcam on the laptop. It's not the greatest, but it'll work. So I know Upstate Angler and I were just talking about this earlier. I need to get a GoPro and just be done with it, but it's hard to spend that much money. Like I said, we'll wait till a couple other guys get in here. We'll kind of go over what happened last weekend. So kind of a funny story on one end, but a little aggravating on the other. I'm sure everybody is actually going over to the other channel right now, or the other video. Pick up a used GoPro, some good deals on eBay. Jeff, I've looked on it a couple times before, and I know a lot of the guys told me not to go any older than I think it's the 5, because that's the one that starts shooting the 4K. So Dan Hale says, I had a streaker. It was pretty close, Dan. I'll say that. What's up, Doug? Oh, Bill made it back on. Hank's back on. All right, now we're getting everybody back in here. We'll stay on this time, I promise. What's up, Chris? So to go off of what Dan said there about the streaker, it kind of was a streaker. It was 2 of them, actually. Last weekend was our classic tournament down at Lake of the Ozarks, and we go down there, we have a good time. It's kind of whatever goes on. But 2 guys thought they'd be real funny, and they thought I was actually filming for a video, and thought they'd be real funny and come over and moon the camera. But they didn't realize I was on live, and I did not want that getting out of here and having YouTube shut my whole entire channel down. I told them guys, like, I busted my butt for the last 3.5, 4 months getting this channel built up. I'd hate to lose it right then just because of that. So that's actually what happened. So as soon as I covered the camera up, and like I said, I had terrible connection there to begin with. So as soon as I did it, it ended it anyway. So yep, Bill says hit that like button. Definitely, guys. So like I said, we'll wait till a couple more guys get in here. We'll kind of go over the tournament, how it went, what exactly happened. So I didn't get to explain a whole lot down there. But so anybody else doing any fall fishing yet where you guys are living? I noticed here they've been the water's finally starting to cool off, finally starting to see a few bait fish here and there. Hank says, is it fall yet? Well, Hank, I think we had about 2 days of fall so far. I know a couple of Indiana guys were saying it was pretty cold already up where they were at. Dan Hell says Cinco is the bomb. Dan, I've thrown the Cinco a couple times the last couple weeks, but I haven't had much luck on it. They just don't seem to want that slow fall right now. I think the places I've been fishing, they're chasing a bait fish, and they're looking for more reaction. So yeah, Hank says he haven't noticed. Jeff says fall fishing is not fun in this part of Pennsylvania yet. Yeah, Jeff, when I tell you what, fall's kind of it's either you love it or you hate it. Guys are both ways on that. So me in particular, I love the fall fishing. You get a good reaction bite. You get them bass schooling up. You get in a school of bass, you can have a lot of fun pretty quick. So I really enjoy it. So Doug says, unfortunately, haven't been out lately. Man, got to get out there. Tell work to just hold off for a couple days. You got to go fishing. Dan says, but it's cold here in Indiana. Yeah, Dan, and you're not too far from us. You've got probably pretty close to the same weather I would say we've got. But I do know my brother-in-law, he lived up in north of Kokomo, Indiana. We used to go up and visit him, and man, you want to talk about some wind. Holy cow. That wind rips through there everywhere. And if it's 30 degrees up there, it feels like it's about 2. I hated it up there. Let's see, Brian's in the house here. Down here in the South Georgia, we are going from summer to spring. Yeah, man, laugh it up. I wish I was. Oh, Upstate made it in. What's up, man? Bill says it's almost jerkbait time. Yeah, I've got a few places I can throw a jerkbait around here. It's got a little bit clearer water. It does okay, but I would say if you're, I would say you got to find some pretty good clear water to throw a jerkbait and be really effective with. Like I said, it's not that I can't get bit here with it. It's just not as good as it should be. David said, I'm struggling in Pennsylvania. Got a couple, but it's been a grind. Yeah, David, that's what Upstate Angler was saying too. He said he was catching a couple fish here and there, and then the last couple of days it's just been a real grind. He hasn't had hardly any luck. Doug said, if I can only do that with work. Yeah, I tried it too, Doug. They'd just laugh at me and tell me to go back to work. Your luck's been 50-50 in the fall. I'll be honest with you, probably one of my favorite lures to throw in the fall, at the beginning of the fall, right after that it's still in the transition period, but getting into that first good bite. I think, a spinnerbait is probably one of my favorite things to throw. It's just a good reaction bite. And they hit it hard. I can tell you that. And I'll explain a little bit more of that here in a minute when I go into the tournament details here. So Dan says, got to have that chartreuse and pepper Cinco. Actually, Dan, I've got one of those. I should have brought it out here. I would have showed you. I actually, Gabe from 10 Horse Monty was asking me about that, and I was going to show him that color. It's hard to find. I think I want to say a Bass Pro brand that's actually got that color. That for clear water, I mean, that's one of the best Cincos I've ever had. Oklahoma's worst anglers in the house. Fall fishing. I got out this weekend and definitely had some cold mornings, heated back up into the 70s. Rough wind with a kayak. Dude, I don't know how you guys do it in a kayak. I don't think I could have the patience for that. I'd drive myself nuts trying to paddle around and do this and do that. And every time you hook up with a fish, it's pulling you everywhere. I've got a lot of respect for you guys that do it, though. I couldn't do it myself. It'd drive me nuts. So Upstate says the fall bite is almost over here. Feels like almost winter here. Water temps in the 50s already. Oh, man, you guys went right by your fall bite then. I wouldn't say it's over, though. Right at about 50, that can get a little fun sometimes. You get a good sunny day to heat the water up just a couple degrees. It'll really turn them fish on. So, see, Chris says the wind here is okay. Gets really fierce at times. Oh, and here in Oklahoma, I got you. Doug says, yeah, most of my fall bites been on a spinnerbait. Yeah. Oh, Dan says to get those singles on Amazon. Dan, do you remember which brand they are? I thought they were like just a Bass Pro strictly brand is the only ones I could find those in. Past Sunday was no joke. Full Armor Bassin, what's up, man? Glad to have you here. One lost dude. What's up, man? Well, we got enough of you guys in here. I'll kind of go into what happened this weekend at our Classic tournament, just to explain a little bit. So it's about a 3.5, 4-hour drive for me. Drove all the way down there on Thursday. Wanted to pre-fish a little bit. My wife actually went with me just to stay with me and, kind of have a little vacation out of it. So we get there Thursday. It's about, I don't know what time it was, whatever. But it was raining. So I told her, I said, we'll just wait a little bit. It's going to clear up a little bit. We'll wait. We'll go then. So we waited, and finally it started clearing up a little bit. Walked outside. and this lightning bolt hit probably 150 feet from our condo, and I mean just shook everything. And I told her, I was like, "Well, that's done. I'm going back in." So waited a little bit longer and ended up storming the whole rest of the day, so we didn't get to go out. So with all that being said, all I did was put the boat in the water and put it in the boat slip, and that was it. We parked it there, tied it up. So Friday morning, the first day of the tournament, I go to take off, and the spot that I was actually fishing was just right around the corner, and it's got a little brush pile. I like to fish a lot, held some pretty good fish, and went to put my trolling motor down, and it was completely dead. Would not do anything. I know the batteries were good. I had problems with it about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. Thought I fixed that. I had bent the shaft. It walked the bearing out a little bit and kind of ate up the shaft a little bit, but I thought I fixed all that, but it wouldn't do anything. So I ended up having to call a buddy of mine that I was fishing with in the tournament. He had to make another 20-minute run back just to pick me up so I could go fish. So luckily he was there, let me fish out of the back of his boat. Ended up with one fish the first day. I was in last place. I'd caught that one fish on a spinnerbait. It was a war eagle, and I can't think of the name of it. It's almost a transparent look color, but it has like there's 2 or 3 strands of chartreuse. It's one of my favorite colors that they carry. But that was the only one I had at the time. After I caught that fish, I caught a couple short ones, and then had one just, I mean, hit the junk out of it. I mean, just almost yanked the rod out of your hands and just snapped me off after about a foot of drag. So I don't know. It could have been a catfish or something. I don't know, but I mean, like I said, it hit it pretty hard. So I didn't have my spinnerbait anymore. I tried some white ones and some other ones. I didn't have much luck with that. Then I ended up, flipping some docks and stuff like that. If anybody's familiar with Lake of the Ozark, it is full of docks. So didn't do any good. Caught a bunch of short fish. Second day we talked about it, or I should say the first day after we got back, we talked about it and come up with the conclusion. I wanted to go get some more spinnerbait, so we ran up to a local shop that was there. They had 2 left in that color, so I bought both of them and went out the second day and ended up hitting 4 of them right off the bat on that spinnerbait. A bunch of short ones too, but really had a lot of fun. And what we were doing was in the back of a cove, and the bait fish had moved back there. And all you had to do, it was about probably a 250 foot by 250 foot square that they were working the bait fish. You just had to wait for them to blow up. And as soon as they blow up, you just throw over by it. And as soon as you come through it, they'd hit it. Like I said, I caught 4 of them. I had another big one, whatever it was, broke me off again. So I had 1 left. So I fished with that quite a while. Just couldn't quite pick up that 5th fish. But the 4th one, when I caught it, it was really weird. It was like a really, really yellowish color. And all of its fins were just bright red, almost like it was spawning. But after about 10 minutes in the live well, it just died. So that kind of hurt me quite a bit there. But by the end of the day, I weighed in those 4 fish, which took me all the way to 2nd place. But then I had a 1 pound penalty for the dead one, so that put me back in 3rd. I think, let's see, I think I had like 10.27 for weight, and I think 2nd place was 10.32 or something like that. So I wasn't far off from it at all, but that 1 pound it killed me there. So, but that's the way the tournament went. It's what happens sometimes. I was just thankful I had a buddy there that let me fish out of the back of his boat. So that made all the difference in the world there. Otherwise, I'd have just been stuck on the bank and wouldn't have been able to fish it at all. So, but that's how it goes sometimes. That's tournament fishing. So, see if we can catch back up here. All right. Dan says, I think it was a Yamamoto. It may be, Dan. Like I said, I don't remember. I haven't bought any in a while. I think the last time I bought them, I bought a pack of like 50 of them, so I haven't bought them in years. Oklahoma's Worst Angler. Let's see. I think the reason I love the kayak is it brings me back to the bank fishing roots. You can drop an anchor and really pick apart spots. Fishing in a boat with a trolling motor is too fast for me. I don't know, man. I tell you what, that's when I get in a boat, that's one thing I really watch is how fast I'm fishing stuff. If I'm fishing like, let's just say a square bill, a spinnerbait, any kind of moving bait like that, I'm going to cover water fast. But if I'm flipping, pitching, or fishing a sink or something like that, I really, really slow myself down. I usually stick my trolling motor on 1 or 2 and just kind of just hold myself in spots for so long to fish. But I understand what you're saying, though. I kind of get the same way just in my big boat. So picked up a good fish in the kayak. The glitter rockets leave behind. The glitter rockets. Alex, can you be stealthy on that yak, buddy? And it says, nope, I was wrong. Tailored tackle. Okay, Dan. Well, you may be getting a different one then, because like I said, I think the ones I was getting, I'm pretty sure I thought they were Bass Pro brand. And in that cove is where I caught. Oh, guys, I am so sorry. My wife just had to get on here and rub that in there. Yeah, the cove she was talking about, she caught a 7-pounder and took me out of Big Bass of the Year about 3 years ago. So she thinks it's hilarious. But I'd love to show you guys my wall of accomplishments that I have over there compared to hers. So full armor, I'm stealthy and yelling. It's a whale. Yeah, Oklahoma. I don't even know how you catch any more fish out of you since you catch some big ones. Start yelling like that. So you forgot to say your buddy whose boat where you're fishing out of weighed in 2 fish all tourney. No, he weighed 2 fish the second day. I think he had 1 fish the first day and 2 fish the second day. I think is what he had. Yeah, I beat him up a little bit in his own boat, that's all good though. And just to let you guys know and give you a little bit of a heads up, tomorrow morning I'll be dropping a video, at its normal time at 6. But it's going to be for some jigs that I love throwing. And I'll go into them, explain everything that I like about them and everything in the video, and you guys can see, firsthand of why I like these jigs so much. But if you guys get a chance, definitely go check out Moccasin Lures. He's got a Facebook page, he's got Instagram, he's got a website too. But I don't know if I may be able to put it in here. Let me see here. I don't want to screw this up though. Let's see here. All right, maybe I can't. I'll figure it out how to do all that. Still learning all this stuff, but I'll definitely have his links and everything in the description on the video tomorrow, so you guys go check them out. I will tell you firsthand, these guys are awesome to deal with. They'll take care of whatever you need, and their jigs are absolutely killer. Like I said, I'll explain everything in the video tomorrow, like I said, but you'll see that. Just make sure you watch that, especially for you guys that really like to throw jigs. So a lot of boats in the California Delta are covered in glitter. Guys, I'll tell you, mine doesn't have much glitter on it, so it just looks like a white streak coming by. Oh, somebody needs to get rid of that Lisa lady. Holy cow. GT Bass, how's it going, Greg? So most of you guys are, from the sounds of it, just getting into fall, and then some are just about over in fall bite. I know Upstate Angler, he's coming down to fish with me here in, not this weekend, but next weekend. So look forward to him coming down. I got a pretty good spot to take him. Hopefully going to hook him up on his PB, so looking really forward to that. What's the name of that jig again? I come in late. Sean, it is the Moccasin Lures. They've got several different jigs. Their swim jig's really killer. I love it. I think the one they've got, it's almost like a pro blue color. I forgot the name of it, but definitely check them guys out. Like I said, they're just down-to-earth people. I mean, you got any issues, they're fast in shipping. They're very, very good to work with. I can tell you that. I don't go fishing without my jig rod. Love it. Yeah, Bill, I'm about the same way. I would say probably 80% of the time I've either got some type of pitching or flipping bait in my hand, or a square bill or spinner bait, something like that. As far as topwater goes, I do topwater fish. Don't get me wrong. I'm more of a bottom feeder, I guess you could say, most of the time. And that's, typically where I get my bigger fish too. So I wanted to ask you guys, are you liking the 3 videos a week, or are you wanting to go down a little bit on that? Because I can tell you, I am struggling to get the 3 a week and get all the descriptions in there and everything. And I want to make sure that I'm getting you guys quality content on this channel rather than just pumping out videos just so they keep getting views. Because I was listening to Tackle Junkie last on his live stream, and he said his last couple of videos had really bombed. And I've actually noticed the same thing. My last couple of videos haven't got much views at all, hardly. So I don't know what's going on with it. I don't know if it's because of football season or going into playoffs for the baseball or what's going on. But I know hockey just started back up, so it's kind of a slow couple weeks, and I'm thinking it has to do with that. But I just want to make sure. So Greg says, bite is slowing down big time around here. I'm hoping that the fish aren't just in shock from the drastic cold front, which we see this week. Yeah, Greg, to be honest with you, I mean, I fish quite a bit around this time of year. It's about every year. And usually you'll get them real good cold snaps, and it really don't bother those fish that much. It's not gonna drop that water temperature that fast, so it doesn't really affect them that much. Now, don't get me wrong. If you get, let's say, a week straight from when it used to be, 70s and 50s down to where it's, 50s and down in the 30s every night for a week straight, that's going to drop it pretty quick then. I think you're going to see the bass move faster. But, I mean, they should still be biting. I would say probably a good chance you're probably just stuck in that little bit of that transition period, which we all go through in just all different times. I know my pond here in the past probably 2 weeks has been going through that. And my fish are pretty smart. They pretty much know what I'm throwing, and they look for it, and they just won't bite it. But, I mean, even throwing new stuff in there and everything else, I threw that new shimmer swimmer in there and had a little bit of luck with that. I mean, I'm talking just a couple fish, but other than that, they haven't been biting very well at all. So, and I can usually go down there if I really just want to catch a fish. I can go down there with either a shaky head and a trick worm or something like that, and I can usually trigger a bite pretty easy. But this past 2 weeks, it's been extremely hard. So, I'm sure that probably has a lot to do with it. Matt Murrow says 6 cents jigs are awesome. Yeah, dude, I won't disagree with you there. I use a lot of 6 cent jigs, but like I told you guys a while ago, make sure you watch my video tomorrow. I'm telling you, these the jigs I'm telling you about with moccasin lures, and I'll show you why that these jigs just are outstanding. I love these things. I give these guys a lot of props. They put a lot of time and a lot of money into them on trying to figure out the best way to do it, and I think they've nailed it. I really do. So, hey, whatever works best for you, dude. Yep. Bill Cover says Omega jigs are the best, I think. Yeah, I don't have any problems with Omega jigs. I actually met Bill. I met the owner of Omega jigs, or Omega Tackle, I guess I should say. He was fishing my local lake where I live, and I just kind of ran into him there and talked to him a little bit. And he messaged me on Facebook. We talked for a couple weeks there, but really nice guys. They make some good quality baits too. Doug says, I was always trying my best to watch the videos as soon as possible. I appreciate it, Doug. I appreciate all you guys watching them. I really do. Like I said, I think a lot of it has to do, with, the sports coming up. You got 3 different sports right now that are big. So I think it has a lot to do with it. But I am going to try to focus a little bit more time on my descriptions and stuff like that. Talking to a couple other guys, I know what they've been doing is they actually write down all their descriptions and just pretty much copy and paste them every time, so they don't have to, type that stuff in every time. That's where I was having so many problems. It'd take forever to type everything in every time, all the links and everything. So, and I don't even have anybody that sponsors me or nothing yet, so I don't have to worry about putting that in yet, but I'll get there eventually. So One Lost Dude says, anyone have any issues with Lew's Mach 1 drag system? I found one on the cheap. Now I know why. And the 8-inch bass was ripping drag when it pretty much locked down. That could possibly have something to do. If you take apart that reel, the little washers on the side there, look and see if maybe one of those is flipped upside down. If you got a book for it, it'll show you exactly how they all go. I actually had one when I first started cleaning bait casters. That I had put in there backwards, and that's exactly what happened to me. So check that out and see if that's maybe what's wrong with it. It could be a simple fix. Maybe somebody sold it cheap because they cleaned it or something and didn't put it back right and thought it was messed up. Greg says that's what I'm thinking as well. Yeah, that's like I said, Greg, that's that's kind of what I've dealt with too. And you're not too far away from me. I think you may be a little ahead of me, or right with me, or whatever with the how the weather's going. So I'd say it's probably a pretty good shot at it. So Chris says I don't watch TV much. I watch videos in the evenings when I get home from work. There you go, dude. You just keep pressing my play button. That's all you got to do. David says quality is the best way to go, not numbers. Definitely, dude. It is. And I've noticed that from a lot of different YouTubers I've watched. Several. I won't say any of their names or nothing, but there's a lot of them out there. Just they blow their channels up. I watched one. It's been probably about a month and a half ago. He was a younger kid, just started out. I think I had maybe 80 subs, maybe 90. He started off, he had like 15 or 20 that first night. And I went back like 3 days later, he was doing another live stream and he was already up to like 1,500 subs. I couldn't believe it. I don't even know how he did it. But he's strictly doing live streams. He was doing it for like 5 hours at a time. And I mean, I guess if that's what you want to do, you can do it. But I don't see a lot of his subs staying with him. But I guess he'll have the numbers in the bank, and that's all that matters. He'll get monetized pretty quick, I would think. And with this live stream being 5 hours long, it won't take him long to get to 4,000 hours of watch time. So, more power to him, but I just don't see that channel lasting very long like that. So Chris says, I like the Picasso jigs. Man, between you and Tackle Junk, you guys kill me on those. He preaches on those things all the time. I still haven't got him. He tries to get me to get the Picasso spinner baits because of the lighter wire. But I was telling him the other day, I think on a Facebook page or a post that he had, the fish that I was catching at Lake of the Ozarks were straightening my spinner bait out like it was nothing. I mean, they were hitting it so hard and yanking and fighting so hard. They were just straightening it out every time. And there were several times that I had to take my line and slide it all the way back down to that neck because it was getting straightened out so hard and pulling. And that may be why I lost, 2 of them. But I think with the Picasso spinner baits, not that there's anything wrong with them. I just don't think that lighter wire would have held up for what we were doing. I think I would have been either straightening them out too much or, just probably breaking them, I would imagine. David says War Eagle makes a decent jig. Oh, yeah, definitely. They do. I love the War Eagle stuff. Greg says, jigs, can't really say that I'm a super brand specific. This year I've tried a lot of different brands and styles, half-ounce tungsten football, full skirt and 3/8 finesse cut have done the best for me. Yeah, and that may be, I tell you what, Greg, I have noticed that from a lot of different people that live farther north that really, really have a lot of luck with the finesse jigs. I don't know if it's something that maybe it's a smaller bait that they're used to in those waters, or the only thing I could possibly think of, if you look at crawdads or mud bugs, whatever you want to call them, you go down to Louisiana and them things are big enough. I mean, they're probably the size of a $50 round, and they're up to like 4 to 6 inches long. I mean, they're huge. But the farther north you move, the smaller they get. And they got a little different color to them. I know when I lived in West Virginia, we seen them a lot there too, but they were always a lot smaller. I never seen any big ones like you do down south. So maybe that has something to do with that. I don't know, but that's just kind of my guess. My finesse cut is a ball head finesse jig from Booyah. There you go. The moccasin lures, they have a finesse one too. It's a 3/8 finesse that I really like that too. And I know a lot of guys, they still throw that 3/8 on the regular jig rod. That's usually when I step down to like a medium heavy rod, because I want to feel it a lot more. If I can't feel the weight of that bait down there, it's no good for me. Because there's so many fish that pick that thing up and you'll never know it. Says, yep, I remember seeing crawfish in South Florida that were huge. Yeah, definitely. They're, like I said, it's I look at that as the same way as bass are. If you look at largemouth in Florida, the farther north you get, the smaller they get. That's just the way it is. And then you take smallmouth. The farther north you get, the bigger there are. You know, you get farther south, they're not nearly as big. So I think it's probably about the same thing with the crawfish. So that's just my thought on it. Like I said, I don't know. Chris says the Gerald Swindle. Well, he took it away. Never mind. So Bill says, do you do much shaky head fishing? Bill, I try not to be honest with you. When I'm doing a shaky head, any kind of shaky head fishing like that, it's usually because it's a really tough bite. I typically don't go to it that often. I'll be honest with you. Like I said earlier, in my pond, I can throw it down there a little bit. You know, if I'm really wanting to trigger a bite, that's kind of what I go to. So if I'm in a tournament situation or something like that, and I can't get bit or whatever, you know, I'll go over, you know, buy some docks or something like that, or lay down, and I'll definitely use a shaky head. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of it, but it does catch fish, and you can't argue with that. So, except another jig I really like is the missiles jigs, like the mini flip, small profile, super strong hook. Yeah, Greg, I tell you what, Greg, that's an excellent point, because I see so many jig companies coming out that are trying to do these finesse jigs, and you look at the hook on them, and they're so light wire that if you set a hook like you normally would on a jig, you're going to bend your hook straight out. I mean, it's just, they're that bad. And I know there's thousands and thousands of jig companies that are out there trying to make these jigs, and that's where a lot of them fail, is that hook. What is it? The Mustad hook and the Trocar, I think, are probably two of the most common used ones out there that I'll definitely pick up just because of that hook, because I know they're not going to go anywhere. So Bill says, what combo are you using for jigs? Hang on, Bill, I'll actually grab it real quick. So my first one is actually this one here. I know it's a crappy camera, but that's the Shimano, the Crotto K reel. This is the 8-to-1 gear ratio. I like a faster reel gear ratio, especially for any flipping or pitching, anything like that. But this is the Mach speed stick here. This one's a heavy power with a fast taper. It goes anywhere from 3/16 to an ounce and a half. It's a pretty stiff rod. I really like it. It's got a ton of feel to it. So I actually did a review on this rod. You can go look at in one of my earlier videos, kind of explain everything. Just to show you guys, like I said, I know this camera is just absolute junk, but I'll show you. That is one of the moccasin jigs there. And like I said, I'll just check out my video tomorrow. I go a lot farther into detail with it. You guys can really see it, and I have it on the better camera, so you can actually see what's going on. But I will tell you, for my smaller jigs, my finesse jigs and stuff, it's another Shimano Crotto. But the SLX rod, this thing is just, I love this rod. I mean, it's, like I said, it's a medium heavy action with a fast tip. But it's got just enough give to it that I can really feel those lighter jigs and stuff like that. And when you swing on them, you know, it's got enough give in there to where you're using that lighter wire hook. It doesn't rip it out. It doesn't straighten the hook out. It's got enough give to keep that fish pinned too. So that's my other setup for that I really like. And I will tell you, both my rods are these are both, I think, 711s. I think is what these are. No, sorry, 7s. This one's a 7. And then the Mach speed is a 711. So, all right, let's see what we got back in here. So Upstate Angler says the Bitsy Bug is another good one. Yeah, definitely, Sean. That is probably one of the favorites out there, I can tell you. That thing really, really blew up in probably the past 2 or 3 years. Probably 2 years, I guess I should say. Down at Lake of the Ozarks, that is a killer jig down there. So they really like that for catching not so much not smallmouth, but the spotted bass. The spotted bass kill that thing. And I don't know if you guys have ever caught spotted bass, but they are mean. I mean, those little guys put up a fight. They're like a miniature bass on steroids. When they come up, they got some broad shoulders on them. I'll tell you that. So One Lost Dude says, take a Senko and rig it weedless without a weight. Not many people rig that way. Fall different directions in every cast. Oh, definitely, dude. I use a Senko like that all the time. That's probably one of the only ways I throw a Senko. I couldn't tell you the last time I've weighted a Senko. That's one of my favorite baits to throw in a pond. Tolkien's Stanger says, not sure if you've checked out the Blacklist baits, but they throw owner hooks on all jigs. Smaller company too, pretty decent price. All right, dude. Yeah, I'll check it out. Blacklist baits. I'll make sure I watch back. I'll look that up, definitely. Thanks. Chris says, the Gerald Swindle balling out jig by Buckeyes Lures is really good. Yeah, I'm a big Gerald Swindle fan. I really am. And that dude, when he goes to skip and docks and stuff, it makes me sick. He makes it look so easy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can skip, but not like that dude. I mean, he is good, especially when he's doing the backhand and everything else. I mean, I just want to jump up there and jump on him like a spider monkey and strangle him for that. So Upstate says, I like how the rattles are not in the hook radius. Oh, definitely, dude. You're talking about the moccasin. Yeah. And like I said, I'll explain that in the video tomorrow. You'll see. There's a lot of really, really good points I put into this video on why this is probably one of my favorite jigs out there. So GT Bass, let's see. Have you ever gotten a wacky rig 4-inch Senko on a jig instead of a crawl? I saw it on Mikey Ball's channel. Interesting idea. Something that I've never seen. Greg, no, I've never done that. I would. I'm not sure what I would think about that. Because usually when I'm fishing a wacky rig, they're kind of coming up and they suck that bait up and then kind of just inhale the rest on that second bite. But fishing wacky rig like that, you kind of let them take it a little bit. In my opinion, I mean, some other guys are different, but if you don't let them take a little bit, usually you rip it right out of their mouth. So I'd be afraid they grab one end or the other, not the whole thing. I'm not saying it wouldn't work though. I mean, there's always new ideas out there that just blow everybody's mind. So maybe that's one of them. All right. Oh, thanks, Bill. So, 10 Horse Monty's in the house. What's up, man? Just got back from Lake Cedar. Let's see. Watching now. Oh, that's good. Hopefully you tore him up. Chris Norris, 10 Horse Monty. I think. So, yep, 10 Horse Monty. He'll be back next Monday, so we'll have him on the show and pick his brain a little bit more. So what's your guys' favorite setup for your jigs? You throwing a medium heavy, or are you throwing something with like a little bit more stiffer rod? David, I usually it's if I'm flipping heavy stuff, like let's say vegetation, stuff like that I'm going to be around or something like that, or a lot of timber, I'll go up to a 20-pound fluoro. If not, I'm usually about a 15 or 17-pound fluoro. And that's both P-line too. Tackle Junkie finally made it in. He's missed almost the entire show, and now he decides to come in. Now I'm going to have to make you go back and watch the whole thing so you can figure out what happened to the tournament. I still haven't seen Wadded Fishing in here yet either, so I don't know what happened to that guy. It's not like he's got a lot going on or anything right now. Hank says, I like the medium heavy rods for my jigs. We'll step up to the heavy rod for some of the vibrating jigs action at times. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I tell you what, I would say probably the biggest majority of guys I know usually throw their jigs on that medium heavy. A lot of them don't throw it on that heavy like I do. 10 horse says lose football jig rod. It's heavy, 7.3 heavy. Gabe, is that I can't remember. Is that the fast taper or is that the extra fast? Hey, I stay on for 2 hours. You can do so. I only missed half. I hear you, man. I don't know how you do 2 hours sometimes. I really don't. I think my voice would be gone. My wife would be happy for a little while, but Greg says my favorite rod so far is my Johnny Morris Carbon Light 7.3 heavy, medium heavy, fast action rod, 3/8 to 1 ounce. Greg, I will tell you a funny little story about the Carbon Light rods. So this has been probably 12 or 13 years ago when I first started getting into tournament fishing. The guy I was actually fishing with this weekend, I should say, we fished a tournament at Kentucky Lake, one of the first tournaments I ever been to. And we were fishing just a rock dike, found a bunch of fish around some rocks, and that's just what was working. And I happened to look up the FLW tour was down there that same weekend. And I happened to look up at the bank and I seen like a stick floating there, but I kept seeing it shine. I thought, well, that's kind of odd. So I told my buddy, I said, pull up there. So we pulled up there, and sure enough, it was a brand spanking new Carbon Light rod that I guess had flown off of one of the pros' boats. I guess it was either one of their prototypes or whatever, something they were trying, they hadn't released yet. I looked all over online for that rod and couldn't find it anywhere. And finally got a hold of a guy through Bass Pro, and he said that was one of the rods that fell off of one of the guys' boats. It was fishing down there. He didn't know whose it was, but that was what happened. So I had that rod for probably up until last year, maybe 2 years ago. And some dummy shut it in a truck door. I won't mention any names, but let's just say he was a dummy and shut it in the truck door and took off the last like 8 inches of it. So I'm still thinking about going to getting it fixed, but that was probably one of my favorite rods to learn to pitch with and flip with. That thing had so much feel to it. It was unreal. Let's see what we catch back up here. Upstanger says, I watched the Bait Man the other night for the first time, seeing him on the live stream. Seems like a cool dude, knows his stuff. Yep, my voice is done afterwards. I'm sure it is, man. Like I said, I don't know how you do it. I really don't. He gets yappy and then time flies by. Are you talking about Tackle Junkie, Hank? So 10 Horse Monitor says, oh, it's a modder. Loads up nicely. It's a custom speed stick series. I got you. Okay. So tackle. Oh, Sean's back in the house. I didn't even see him come in. Substanding angler. Let's see. All right. Chris says I'll be throwing my 5-inch pickle bub and swing head jig. Chris, that was one of the winning baits I had last year at Lake Barkley. Guy got me started on them pretty hot and heavy. I threw them before, but not like he was showing me how to, and that was pretty neat. We caught 2 6s and a 5, actually 2 5s. So Tackle Junkie, I didn't get the chance, but got on the stream yesterday. Fished the lake that I was going to, and he said it was 67. Oh, you're talking to that guy up there. I got you. The old Pro Qualifier rods were some of the. Well, where'd I go? Old Pro Qualifier rods were some of my favorites. I don't think I ever threw any of those. I don't know if I ever had any. So Greg says it's a great all-around rod, chatterbaits, A-rigs, small swim baits, and jigs. Really good price point too, right at $100. Yeah, that's not bad at all. I tell you what, I think that $100 range is a pretty good range to be in for a rod. If you're not wanting to go out and know exactly what you're wanting and spend the extra money, there's so many rods out there right now that are just around the $100 range. Like I said before, and I did that review on that Shimano SLX, it was right at $100. I couldn't be happy with that rod. I mean, it's got a ton of feel to it. It is a little bit stiffer for a medium heavy, which is what I really like. A lot of the medium heavy rods like that, they have a lot of give to them. And this one actually has a lot of backbone to it, which I really like. So it just kind of fits my style of fishing a lot more than what other ones do. All right, Greg, you got to go. Talk to you next week, man. Thanks for stopping in. When they were discontinued, I even reached out to Edwin Evers to see if they had any old ones to sell, but he never responded. I find that hard to believe, man. Like I said, that carbon light I had, that was, I don't know what that rod would have costed, but it was, I couldn't find any like it at all anywhere. And they told me it was one of the, I guess they never went into production, or if they did, they were different colors and everything. Because the one I had was, it was almost like a blank rod. I mean, it was just, everything was black, everything on it. I mean, the butt on it was black. I mean, the entire thing was black. It had like no coating on it. It's kind of weird. Sean says, I'm looking forward to coming down there to fish, but almost excited to go to the academy for the first time. We have nothing around here for bait stores. I have to drive an hour and a half, the closest Bass Pro. Yeah, Sean, the closest Bass Pro I got is in St. Charles, and it's about an hour and 20-minute drive from here. But the academy that I have, it's a 30-minute drive down the road. It's not too bad. Academy they carry quite a bit of stuff. It's not great by any means. It's no Bass Pro or Cabela's or anything like that. But I do like their selection of stuff. They got a little bit of most stuff, so it's pretty good. Does it for me. The one thing I will say about Academy, and I think Gabe and I talked about it last time with the frogs, is they have a bad tendency to carry something for a couple months, and it may be a big seller, and then they just drop it, and they don't get it in stock anymore. But they'll carry it on their online store. So that's kind of aggravating sometimes. I know when I first started shopping there, Rage Crawls, that was the only place I could get them other than going and driving an hour and a half to Bass Pro. So they started carrying the Rage Crawls and the Rage Frogs. And I started going down there and buying the Rage Toads. And a month later, they didn't stock them anymore. So they carry them on their online deal, but not in the store. So I was kind of aggravated with that. But there was a couple other things they did that with too. But that's the way it goes sometimes. Tackle Junk says they were awesome rods. And Horace, I've got a couple of old BPS Extremes and a medium heavy that are great. Come to fish here too. Just drive the extra. Oh, I was talking to Sean. Okay, I got you. When you're done there, just drive the extra hours and come fish here too. Man, dude, I think that's more than just a couple hours. I think it took me 7.5 hours to get to Tulsa. I don't know how far you are from Tulsa, but that was a pretty good little drive. Full Armor Bassin says, I'm back, guys. Had to help unload groceries, and with 6 kids, you can only imagine. Well, no wonder. I can't believe you got done that quick, man. Academy has a restocking problem. Yeah, that is definitely. Like I said, I was pretty sure that was you and I that were talking about that with the frogs and stuff. But when I saw Edwin Evers last year at Bass University, he had the red Bass Pro rods that he was throwing. Huh. And I didn't tell you guys also, while we were down at over Lake of the Ozarks, however you want to say it, they had the Costa taken out of there, which was pretty cool. There was I think like 28 different anglers that were staying at the same place we were. Let me see if I've got. I had a picture in here. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I'll show you guys. It was pretty neat. I was pretty impressed. So if I find it here, I don't know what to do with it. Well, maybe not. I don't know what I did with it now. Guess I had a lot more text than what I thought going through there. But anyway, like I was saying, like I said, there was a lot of guys down there. Pretty neat to see all them guys and see kind of how they were prepping for the tournaments the night before, and when they were coming in. We didn't get to see any weigh-ins or nothing like that. That was at a different establishment, but it was definitely neat to see them all down there. So let's see where we at here. Gabe, my bass slaying Drummond brother, doing great, brother. Oklahoma's worst angler. It's 10.5 hours there drive there. Now, Sean, is that to drive here, or is that to drive over to where Oklahoma's worst angler's at? Bass alive or worth the brothers drive, brothers. There you go. Excuses. Now, Sean, I look at it this way. He's only one guy. He could drive over here, meet with us, and fish with us for a day. I mean, that makes a little bit more sense than both of us driving all the way over there, right? Speaking of Edward Eaters, his cousin is a financial advisor. I sat down in the office and seen his last name and was thinking, no way, but it was him. Well, that's cool. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Maybe you do enough business there with him, he can maybe get you a little fishing day with him. Time for me to put laundry away and go to work. Until next time, congrats on great finish on Lake of the Ozarks Derby. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Told you some pretty good stories. I'm sure he did. Yeah. I tell you what, a lot of those guys, they're pretty down to earth. They'll talk to just about anybody and kind of tell you what their deal is and this and that. But there's a couple of them out there that I don't think can talk to anybody, but it's just how it goes sometimes. I'm sure they get plenty of publicity and everybody, rushing up to them all the time. I'm sure it gets old. Now, that is a very solid point. Exactly, man. You just make the drive over here. We'll take you fishing for the day with us. I got a good little spot to go, so. Thinking the same thing. Yeah, definitely. Oh. So, Tackle Junkie, I'll tell you, since you weren't on here earlier, I was talking to these guys earlier. I'm going to put up there's a video going up tomorrow morning on some jigs that I've been using. They're moccasin lures. Man, I'm telling you, I really, really like these jigs. They're very, very nice. And I kind of go through and explain everything in the video of, my points of liking them and everything and what makes them so good. So definitely check it out. They're worth a watch. And hopefully we can get rid of all these other sports that are going on right now so we can get more guys coming in here and viewing our channels. That'd be really nice. These 3 sports at one time are just killing us. So, and don't forget, guys, also, when we do hit 500 subs, I am going to have that reel giveaway. So I haven't picked the reel out yet, but I'll make sure it's at least a decent reel. I'm not going to just go buy some Walmart junk and end up shipping somebody a Snoopy pole or something. If you ever get a chance to go to Bass University, it's definitely worth the money to listen to the bros talk. Dude, I'm sure it is. I watch a lot of their, I guess it's their quick views on stuff that they have on YouTube. That's pretty neat stuff. I've learned quite a bit out of there. And listening to different guys' perspectives on different baits and when to use them and stuff, that's really neat too. Because you would think, all their pros, they know exactly when to throw these. But some of them guys will say, oh, well, you throw this bait, it's definitely in the spring. Then you go to the next guy and they're like, no, you never throw this in the spring. You throw it in the fall. And it's all over the board. And they give the reasons why, and they all make sense, which I guess in turn kind of confuses you in some ways. But it's very interesting to watch, though. I use the bed head in a couple of vids already. There you go. Nothing wrong with that, man. Did you really miss seeing you out with the family? I miss fishing with them as well. Next season, I'll get them more and more vids. Yeah, I didn't see your boys very often this year. So Doug says, I'm listening to you and watching Monday Night Football right now. That's awesome, dude. At least you can multitask. I guess these other guys just can't do it. Like I said, with football starting up and then pretty deep right now, and then you got baseball in the playoffs. You just had hockey start back up. I mean, those are three big sports right there that are just absolutely killing it. So, but guys, that's about all I got for this evening. Unless you guys want to discuss something else, but like I said, tackled. Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on. My views are just, they're horrible. I mean, we've always got our solid subs on here that are always on and watching, but it seems like the views after those guys are just, there's nothing there. I don't know what's going on. It's got to be the sports. That's the only thing that's changed in the last 2 or 3 weeks that I can think of, at least. So we got 20 people in here, guys. We got 14 thumbs up. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up, man. Yeah, Fulmer Baston, you've been doing pretty good too. You got some great videos coming out. Just keep it going. I'll say you're growing pretty quick. Oklahoma's Virtual Singer says, I'm out of here, guys. Take care. I'll text you some ideas for views too. All right, that'd be awesome, dude. I appreciate it. If I had to choose between watching sports and TV or go fishing, fishing wins hands down. Dude, I don't blame you there a bit, man. I really don't. I think I'd be in the same boat, so that's where I'd be going. Like I said, I've got a pond in my backyard that I go to all the time. But the problem is the fish are so smart and they've seen every single thing I've thrown. And if I get new baits or something, that's the first place I'm testing it. So if I catch 1 or 2 fish on that, that's pretty much, it's done. I can throw, I don't know, let's just say a Cinco out there, green pumpkin Cinco, and I bet you that whole pond just is in laughter, trying to watch me fish that thing, knowing what they've seen out of it. Throw a hair jig. I've thrown a hair jig in it. I'm telling you, man, I have everything I possibly own, I have thrown in that pond. Sharpedge says, have they seen a fluky, wacky rig? No, I can't say that they've seen. Well, I take that back. I'm sure I've ripped a couple of them off, and they've looked wacky rigged. But on purpose, no, I don't think they've seen it on purpose. Like I said, man, these fish are just, I don't know. I don't know what else to throw at them. Like I said, if I really, really have to get a bite, I can go out. Like I said, I can throw a shaky head or even a small, and I'm talking a small 1/4 ounce finesse jig. And I can get bit on that sometimes, but that's about the only way. Like I said, and that's really pressuring them. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. Like I said, make sure you definitely check out that video tomorrow. Like I said, it'll be dropping about 6 o'clock in the morning. And let me know if you guys are liking that time to drop that video, or if it works better if you guys drop it in the middle of the day. I know YouTube guys are kind of all over the place with that stuff, so I don't know exactly what is a good time to drop them. I've just been doing them at 6 o'clock in the morning. I figured that way, if guys want to catch it before they go to work or whatever they can, or they got during the day, they got a break or something, they can watch it. So if that's working for you guys, let me know, definitely. So let's see. Doug says, this is my childhood dream to have a house with a pond or a small lake on a property. Yeah, there you go, Doug. That's why I bought this place. When we bought it, it was an absolute disaster, and we did a lot of work here and fixed it up, best as I could, and that's what we have now. So I absolutely love it. I wouldn't get rid of it. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next Monday. Thanks.